everyone. Welcome to the Missouri Instructional Leaders Network, where we bring together Missouri instructional leaders to share their experiences, to grow professional relationships, and to build curriculum and instruction skills. This morning, we have a very special guest, the Deputy Commissioner of the Division of Learning Services at DESE, Dr. Tracy Hinds. Good morning, Doctor. How are you?
Good morning. I am well. How is everyone doing on a Tuesday in July?
So we can, in your settings, we can change that. So that's one thing we'll talk about.
There we go.
Do I need to do something with my screen?
You are all set. You can take the wheel and share with us the updates that you have.
Okay, well, awesome. Good morning, everyone. Again, thank you for taking time out of your Tuesday morning to spend some time with me, to give me an opportunity to share some updates here at the department. I always look forward to having an opportunity to share the great work that we are doing at the agency. Just to give you a little background as to what I thought I would focus on today. There are obviously several topics that I could focus in on for today, but felt that it was important to just have an initial level set, why we are here, what our vision and what our mission is here at the department. So just to give you some high level information regarding our role at the department and what we see our vision and mission being. Hopefully everyone on this call has heard about our Read, Lead, Exceed initiative. If you haven't, that's okay. You will definitely know about it today. And this is directly aligned to one of our priority areas, being early literacy. And I'm sure you are aware of the conversation about literacy, not only here in the state of Missouri, but also across the nation, and the importance of ensuring that our students are proficient by the end of third grade. And so we have been very intentional about our work in literacy and felt that it would be important for me to provide some information with you where we are with our Read, Lead, Exceed initiative, and just highlighting a couple of the action items that we have focused on. We are receiving questions frequently about assessments, about instructional materials, and thought that it would be important to provide information to you as you look forward to the upcoming school year. Another area that I felt I would provide an update and just some general information would be our Missouri School Improvement Plan or program, which is MSIP. And so just providing some information on our plan moving forward and how that supports districts and giving you access or helping you see where you can look at the information, particularly our APR. And my favorite part is always engaging in conversation, discussion, question, and answer. So I will probably get through the material as quickly as possible to give you an opportunity to engage in any questions that you have. Hopefully I will be able to answer the questions, but if not, I will definitely ensure that a follow-up response is provided to you. So that's the structure of our time today. And again, our vision and mission, our vision here at the department is to improve lives through education. That is our why. We want all of our students to be positively impacted by the education that they receive in the state of Missouri. And our mission is providing access to opportunity. We all know that access is extremely important, and we have a very diverse state, and it is necessary and a priority for us to ensure that that access, regardless of where you are in the state of Missouri, that students have access so that they can be exposed to experiences and opportunities. We have approximately 900,000 students across the state of Missouri and approximately 70,000 educators who support our students. So when I say we are diverse in ethnicities and racial backgrounds, as well as urban, rural, suburban, and it spans across 900,000 students, and again, our 70,000 educators who on a daily basis support our students across the state of Missouri. So I talked about some priority areas. And these are aligned to our strategic plan. We are currently going through a minor revision process, and we will talk about that at our upcoming board meeting. But just to give you an idea, our priority areas are really focused on these four: early learning and early literacy. We know that it is extremely important for our students to have an early positive experience with education, because that really sets the stage for their trajectory as they continue on with their education. Early literacy, I would spend a lot of time today on the early literacy and the necessity of ensuring that our students receive systematic, explicit instruction that really provides them with those foundational tools to be successful. Success-ready students and workforce development. Our MSIP really focuses and leans in this particular area. Another one of our priority areas is safe and healthy schools, as well as educator recruitment and retention. So those are our focus areas. And again, this conversation will probably have to be an hour for the next 3 weeks or 3 months in order for me to go into detail with all of the programs that we are really leaning in on, but I really wanted to focus on the ones that I identified. So I talked about our Read, Lead, Exceed initiative. And one of our primary initial focus areas was to ensure that our educators were exposed to the training so that they can have that content knowledge of what is the science of reading. So before I go to my next slide, I just want to take a brief moment. You don't have to put it in the chat, but if you could just take a brief moment and think about when you hear the word science of reading, what comes to your mind? So just think about it for maybe 10, 15 seconds. Okay, so essentially, this is what the science of reading is. It is a comprehensive body of research from multiple fields, spanning from linguistics, neurology, psychology, literacy. And it is all of these resources and all of these evidence-based fields that really lean into what does it take for students to be effective and proficient in reading. And what the research tells us is that it really focuses on these 5 areas: phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. We all know that reading is not a natural skill. And so we really have to be intentional with how we provide that support, not only to our students, but to ensure that our educators across the state of Missouri have that knowledge of the best ways to support our students with their development in reading. And again, it really focuses on these 5 areas, and that has been our priority here at the department, to ensure that we are providing resources to make sure that teachers have access to the professional development, to ensure that when they stand in front of our students, that they have the skills needed to provide effective instruction, focus on how students best acquire reading across the state of Missouri. And so that is where our LETRs training really, really supports our efforts. There are multiple states who have used the LETRs training. I'm sure you may have heard about Mississippi and the great work and the success that they are seeing with their intentional focus on aligning to the science of reading. And that's what our goal is here in the state of Missouri. So Read, Lead, Exceed, our goal is to ensure that all students develop the foundational skills needed to read successfully. That's our goal. That is our #1 goal. And Missouri will lead in reading improvement. I just spoke about Mississippi, and I will say that my goal is to ensure that when we talk about states who are being successful with turning that page regarding where our students are with literacy, Missouri needs to be part of that conversation. And we will be part of that conversation because we will see the continued growth of our students and the continued growth and knowledge of our educators who support our students. So we will be the leaders in reading improvement across the nation. That's one of our goals. And then all students will exceed. Ultimately, we want all students to exceed in all aspects of literacy development. Right now, we currently have approximately 9,000 K-5 educators who have participated in this training. That is a good start. However, we need all of our educators receiving this training. So whatever you can do to support our Read, Lead, Exceed initiative and to ensure that educators are aware and signing up for the LETRs training, that will be a task that I will ask you to support us with as we continue to move in that direction. And here's just some information. Educators can go to our website and register to participate in the training. I will say that it is a rather intense training and very high quality, but it does require a lot of focused attention on what it takes to ensure that students have the skills to acquire literacy. Just to give you a status point as to where we are and what we have done to support literacy across the state. We have established a Literacy Advisory Council who really supports us as we come together and define and plan out what that support looks like. We have published our statewide literacy plan, and that will be a four-part series. And so there will be additional correspondence and documentation and guidance coming out with our state literacy plan. One that has garnered a lot of attention would be our K-3 state-approved assessment list. And I will talk about that a little bit later in the presentation. We received funding from the state to reimburse districts who have focused on particular areas that support literacy development. Again, I've talked about our LETRs training. We have coaches, literacy coaches spread throughout the state of Missouri to support our educators. We have webinars in place. We currently released 2 webinars that are focused on literacy. And so I would definitely encourage you to go to our website and select the Literacy Initiative tab, and that will take you directly to the webinars and other information regarding literacy. And one that is really important to us, you know, we talk about the diversity, we talk about the number of educators, the number of students that we have. There are multiple components that support us in our work. And one of those is our educator preparation programs. And so we have aligned what we call the stars are starting to align regarding literacy. And so we are going through the process of making updates and revisions to our rules for literacy. And so not only do we have the elementary certification that has to align with the science of reading, but we have our special education, we have our middle school, we have our secondary. So we are making sure that when our teachers come to us, they are already prepared. So I know that I have given you a mouthful with kind of where we are with literacy. I am going to take a break, a pause, just to see if there are any questions that anyone might have on the call that I can address before I move on. Any questions, comments that we have?
Dr. Hinds?
Yes.
My name is Priscilla May. I'm from the Grandview School District. I do have a question regarding the list that was put out for the evidence-based instructional resource list. Mm-hmm. 2 companies that were selected. Is there any information you can give us to why there was only 2 companies selected?
Well, there were multiple reasons. The first one is we had to go through our formal process, which was our request for a proposal. And we can only evaluate the resources that participated in that process. So that's number one. If someone or a vendor has to submit their materials in order to be evaluated. So that's the number one. And we also received that question when we released our assessment list. There were some assessments that might not have been on the list that some districts were using. But again, the first step is that a vendor has to submit a request and respond to that RFP. I would also say that our initial RFP was to focus exclusively on K-5 instructional materials. We know that I mentioned the 9,000 educators who have currently or previously participated in the LETRs training. That is not all of our educators. And so we wanted to ensure that even if a teacher had not participated in the LETRs training yet, that they will still have access to resources that span kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. That was important to us. Now that we have provided that information, we are in the process of another RFP that will focus on K-2 instructional materials as well as supplemental materials, because we know that there are other supplemental resources that may focus on phonemic awareness, that may focus on phonics, or another area of the spectrum that makes up the science of reading, which I communicated on a previous slide. And so that is going to be our phase 2 as we look at the instructional materials. Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions?
Dr. Hinds, I have a question regarding the LETRs training.
Yes.
How long do you anticipate the state will be providing that training?
So currently we are able to, there are 2 different funding streams. We have our state and federal. So without getting too granular, right now, with our ESSER funds, that time is limited. I believe we have until September of next year, and I will double check that just to make sure I have that time correct. But we also have an opportunity for educators to be reimbursed, and that is part of our state, well, districts to be reimbursed for their educators who participate. We have a funding stream for that, but that does have to go through the process annually. I figured that literacy might be an important topic of discussion. So thank you for your questions, and I really appreciate it. I'm looking at the time, so I will quickly go through the 5 reimbursement areas. And Valerie, these are the 5 areas that really lean in on the reimbursement to districts, and it is the LETRs training for materials. We have the evidence-based instructional materials that we received a question about the list that recently came out. We have the FLEX program, and that is for districts to provide resources for parents and families. We know that that is an extremely important piece of the program. We talked about the stars aligning with our EPP programs. You really want to ensure that parents and families have access to resources and information to support their children at home. We also have stipends for teachers who participate in the LETRs training. As I mentioned previously, it is intense. And so we really want to reward and support the educators for taking time to participate in this intense but necessary training for our teachers. So after they successfully complete the assessments, the districts can submit a reimbursement. And then we also have the reimbursement for the evidence-based foundational reading assessments. And that is a new feature or new assessments that are part of statute. And so all kindergarten, first, second, and third grade students, and even 4th and 5th grade students, if they are newly enrolled to the district, have to participate in the beginning of the year and end of the year assessment focused on reading. And this is important because we really want to be proactive. And if there are areas or domains that we can address now, it is important for us to have a pulse as to where our students are doing well and what our students need support in with their reading development and growth. And so this will really help us identify not only at an LEA level, but also at a state level, where we are being successful, what areas do we need to provide additional resources and tools so that students are really getting that reading support that they need to be successful. I will skip this slide. It's essentially just goes a little bit deeper into the 5 areas, but I just spoke about that. The reading assessments, I talked about the reading assessments. And so here are the 4 vendors who are on our list for the beginning of the year and end of the year assessments that I spoke about. And one piece that, again, not knowing how long this will take, but I do just want to mention that we also have guidance on the reading success plans. And so I would definitely encourage you to go to our website and review that information, because it really connects where students are with their literacy and based off of how they perform on the assessments, and then the body of evidence that the classroom teacher collects if a student requires a reading success plan. So I will definitely encourage you to go to our website, and the information, one question that I receive a lot is, well, what information is going to be reported? And here we have the Lexile level, we have phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. So our single metric is the Lexile, but we also know that we need to have more information. And so we are collecting where students are in their level of understanding with phonemic awareness, where are students with their phonics, where are students with their fluency, so that we can be more intentional about the support that is provided. And we felt that it was important. We did not want to put something else on our LEA. So this information will come directly from the vendors, so that the LEAs don't have to go through that process and collecting the data and sending it to us. We will receive that information directly from the vendors. And again, these are the cycles that we are expecting students to participate in as far as the beginning of the year and end of the year. One piece of feedback that we received, and if I could just draw your attention to kindergarten, you see that that date looks different from 1st through 3rd grade. And we all know kindergarten, and we know that having a student take a reading assessment within the first 4 weeks, we might not get the most valuable information from our kindergarten students. And so we heard the feedback and we said, you know what, you are correct. And so the kindergarten, the first administration for kindergarten is expected to be before December 31st, which will be right before the end of the calendar year. And we received a lot of positive feedback with that shift. Okay, another reason, I'm looking at the time, oh, so much information. Another new resource that I wanted to bring to your attention is our grade 3 literacy snapshot. Again, that is the goal. We need our students to be proficient by the end of 3rd grade. And so we have created a new dashboard to give us a pulse on where our students currently are. Now, this is based off of 2021-22 data, their MAP data. And this tells us how our students performed across the state. This is a static document, but we also have a dynamic dashboard that really goes a little bit deeper. If you look to the right, you see that we have the literacy rates by region. And this is a new feature that we are really excited about, because not only can you see the information from the state, but you can also look at the region to see how our various regions perform and the demographics of students. And so we are very excited about this new feature. And you can go to our data page and you can click on 3rd grade literacy, and it'll give you that dashboard. So you can really explore and see how our students are performing. And this will really be the foundation for the dashboard that we will create to provide the information on the beginning of the year and end of year data in those particular domains as well. So I've gotten through literacy with a few minutes to spare. Really wanted to circle back around to see if there were any additional questions that anyone on this call might have regarding the Read, Lead, Exceed initiative.
I've got a question. If a district is just getting started on their comprehensive literacy plan, what resources do you recommend they start exploring?
Yes, so as I've indicated previously, we have a phenomenal group of support with our literacy consultants. We have literacy individuals dispersed throughout the state through our RPDC programs who can support teachers and districts with their process. I would also encourage LEAs to look at the resources and the guidance that we have provided. We have the step 1. Our step 2 will be released very soon. And that really goes through the needs assessment. For a district, we also have our area supervisors dispersed throughout the state who support our districts as well. Okay, so I'm sure you all have heard about our Missouri School Improvement Program, or MSIP, and we had a different iteration. We are now on MSIP 6, and just wanted to provide some high-level updates and breakdown as to what MSIP 6 is. Now, I will say that we are actually having a meeting on July 19th. We are making some minor adjustments and revisions, but those have not been finalized yet. So just wanting to bring to your attention that with MSIP 6, we have the performance and we also have continuous improvement. And continuous improvement, I would say, would be one of the major shifts between MSIP 5 and MSIP 6, because it really focuses on what we call the inputs. What procedures, what processes are LEAs implementing and schools implementing in order to ensure the successful outcomes or the performance of our students? And so part of the continuous improvement, which is 30% of the total score, will focus on a continuous improvement plan, or the CSIP. What are districts doing? What are their plans to ensure the successful outcomes of our students? There's a climate and culture survey that parents and students and educators participate in. So really wanted to get a pulse as to how the perceived climate and culture is from individuals who are part of the school system. At the top, those are, the performance standards, which is 70% of the score. And another piece that we are extremely excited about, or addition to our MSIP 6, is the equal balance and focus between status achievement and growth achievement. We've heard from our stakeholders, what about growth? Our educators, they do so much. They see a lot of growth. We feel that growth needs to carry heavier weight on our MSIP, and it needs to be acknowledged. We know that our ultimate goal is the status achievement of our students, but we also want to acknowledge the importance and significance of growth as well. So we had some changes, but I would say that those have been some of the most substantial changes between MSIP 5 and MSIP 6. Without getting too granular with the information, we also have the continuous scores for our students. So initially, if a student performed at the below basic, they received 1, and then for basic, they received 3. Now we have that continuous growth or continuous scoring. So if a student is still in below basic, but in the upper realm of below basic, they may potentially receive a 2.8 versus that 1. So those are just some differences between MSIP 5 and MSIP 6. And this information gives you just the timeline for how the APR will show up and the classification of our annual performance report. So just wanted to provide you with that information. So I've gotten through the information that I felt would be important for you to hear. But again, really wanting to devote some time to questions that you might have that I could address at this time.
Hi, I'm Donna, and I have I'm the elementary principal, and I have high school principal here too. Can you elaborate just a little bit on the literacy guidelines and expectations for grades 6 through 12? We know the assessments and the reading success plan, and the reading success plan will follow them, but are there going to be requirements as far as testing or reporting data grades 6 through 12?
So at this time, a student will remain on a reading success plan until they meet those expectations. For the reporting at this time, we currently have K through 5.
Okay. So the success plan follows them until they meet the requirements, but there will be no state reporting past grade 5 at this time.
At this time, it's beginning of the year and end of year for kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth.
Right. Okay. Any other questions? Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Comments?
Well, you did such a great job presenting it. We don't have any questions.
I will take it. I will take it. No, again, I am so excited to share our work, and I just want to thank you, everyone on this call and those who may listen later. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your patience as we continue to work through these processes and getting the information out and guidance out to you. I know that some things weren't the best timing, and I just really want to thank you, and we will continue to get information out to you as quickly as possible, and really support the continued work that you are doing, really to support our students across the state.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Hinds. It was very nice of you to take the time to talk with us this morning. And we'd love to have you back in a few months once we have more updates to give.
Okay, that sounds great. And one thing that I would encourage you to do, if you have free time, participate in our board meetings. Our next board meeting is August 15th. And so if you have an opportunity to listen in, I would encourage you to take that time. We have also started something new where we record our board meetings. So if you aren't able to participate in real time, you definitely have access to the materials as well as the recording. So I would encourage you to listen in. It gives you information. You can kind of hear some additional updates and things that we are doing here at the department, and really to listen in on that discussion and conversation that we have with the board as well.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Well, if there's no further questions, we'll go ahead and call that a wrap. So thanks so much for being here, and
Awesome.
everyone day.
Thank you. Have a great summer. And if I probably won't see you before the beginning of the school year, but thank you for supporting. And I hope everyone has a great start to the new school year and how you support our students and educators. So thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.